Good afternoon, everybody. Ready to roll? Kings off day. They'll watch the Pacers take on the Knicks tonight at Madison Square Garden. We are going to talk about the Kings. We're going to talk about the NBA. We're going to talk about NBA All-Star reserves. All of that with Jerry Reynolds and then Ryan in Sacktown here on If You Don't Like That.
3, 2, 1, go.
Sacramento miscue. Carter. Stolen by Williams. And look at this. Oh, you don't like that. You don't like NBA basketball. Fox. Goodbye. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball. The exclamation point from De'Aaron Fox. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball.
Boy, that's an ESPN highlight right there. Whoa. Carlson comes in. How about this? Holy moly, Jim Bob Bowley. That was a major league smush.
All right, and we bring in Jerry Reynolds, and Ryan is going to come on with us as soon as the NBA All-Star reserves are announced or sooner. So why don't we get right to that, Jerry? They're doing it right now. I think Sabonis is going to be an all-star reserve. To me, if not, they ought to cancel the game. I'm not as confident in De'Aaron Fox. I think he's going to be left outside, maybe added as we get closer to the game, but I don't think he's going to be one of the initial reserves.
I would agree with you. I mean, there's just so many top-flight guards, and then, of course, De'Aaron is – and maybe slipped a little bit in his play here of late, so that would work against him. But I'm with you on Domas. I mean, how could you leave him off? I mean, more triple doubles than anybody. His stats are just, it's. I mean, you can't. I don't know how you could play better.
All right, last night, again, we go back to 3-point shooting. Fox was not good. Monk was not good. Harrison Barnes really didn't do much. I mean, Keegan Murray was great. I got to say that, but he didn't get a lot of help last night, Jerry.
No, it was really just Keegan and Domas. They were both highly productive, and obviously, I think this team just really is not going to win when both Fox and Monk aren't productive offensively, and rarely does that happen, but it certainly did last night. I mean, Barnes, I think they can adjust to that a little bit, and then the bench, the bench was just non-existent, totally dominated by Miami's bench. And so, that's a little bit of a concern going forward. I hope they can maybe do something to strengthen that part of it.
All right, we're monitoring the All-Star selection, and Ryan in Sacktown will join us in just a moment with any other information. When you want to come on, buddy, just raise your hand and we'll put you right on. All right, so you get another opportunity to take on a team that's going to be on the second night of a back-to-back. That's the Pacers tomorrow. This will be the Pacers' third game in 4 nights tomorrow. They were in Boston 48 hours ago. Tonight, they're playing the Knicks at the Garden. I mean, if you're Sacramento, you can't ask for a better situation.
No, you can't. And obviously, it's a huge game for the Pacers against the Knicks. Obviously, the Knicks really becoming an elite team in the East. And obviously, Pacers are in a real good position. It'll be interesting with Tyrese Halliburton. Really has not played but a couple of games and then didn't play against the Celtics, whether he plays tonight or not. So that could be a factor where if he does play against the Knicks, how will they use him? Will they play him back-to-back against the
right. All right, if you want to get in on the program, there is the stream. You can do so, and we will put you right on. Again, the Kings and the Pacers tomorrow, and the Indiana Pacers are going to be a different team than the Kings saw the last time because Pascal Siakam will be on the floor. What does he do for the Pacers, Jerry?
Well, he gives them that front court guy that can really go score and get you 20. Really makes them tough. I mean, I think they're a real, threat, not maybe to win the East, but certainly could be in that top 4. I think they'll pass Philly. Siakam will give, if in fact, then Halliburton can stay on the floor, which has been a problem for Tyrese over the years. You just got to people play more games, but they can score. I mean, they score every night. I mean, they're a little bit like the Kings were last year only probably better, and they're deeper. They've got a terrific bench,
Yep.
and that'll be the concern. I think even with the back-to-back, they got a lot of guys, so they won't have to wear them out.
Kawhi Leonard and Anthony Davis are two of the reserves that are currently have been announced. No surprise there. LeBron James, by the way, and Anthony Davis are not playing tonight for the Lakers as they are in Boston. You think TNT's happy about that? Wow. No LeBron, no Anthony Davis.
Well, that obviously just kills the interest in that game because
Wow.
With the Lakers,
Yeah.
without those two, aren't there's just no reason to watch them.
All right, Devin Booker has been added as a reserve. And again, we'll keep you up to date on everything else. So again, I'll be shocked if we don't hear Domantas Sabonis' name on the All-Star team. I got to ask you, Jerry, yesterday, De'Aaron Fox said he doesn't care if he's on the All-Star team or not. I mean, do you believe that?
Well, I think he'd prefer to be. I mean, I do think where it's important to guys, and I think if it never made an all-star team is to make one. After you've made it, I don't think it's quite as important. And a lot of guys would prefer, I mean, they have bonuses in their contract. That's why it's important. More than the game itself. The game itself is nothing. And it's just, and they'd rather have the time off. And I get that. I mean, I think every NBA player would be better off if they didn't have to show up at all for the All-Star festivities, and so yeah, I mean, I do think it's probably one of those things he'd like any player, he'd like to be selected and then not have to play. So I think get the bonuses and not have to show up for the show, so to speak.
Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves, no surprise there. Steph Curry has just been added, no surprise there. So far, really no surprises as they run down the Western Conference reserves. The one thing that we're starting to see, Jerry, is some separation between the top four teams in the West: Minnesota, Oklahoma City, the Lakers, and Denver, and then Sacramento is fifth. We're starting to really see who the four teams are going to be in the West, top 1 through 4. And yeah, could things change? Yes, but barring injury, I got to believe Minnesota, Oklahoma City, the Clippers, and Denver are probably going to be your 4 top teams in the West this year.
Oh, I agree with that. I think, injury is the only thing that can change that. Now I mean, the Clippers might even move up, and Denver, I could see Denver and the Clippers both moving up to 1 and 2. And I'm not saying they will, but I think both teams are better than Oklahoma City and Minnesota, and that's why they have a lot of games left on the schedule.
Paul George has been added to the All-Star team, so we're only got a couple of reserves left, still waiting for Domantas Sabonis' name and maybe De'Aaron Fox. But I can't believe that we're not going to hear Sabonis' name. The guy's an all-star, plain and simple. He's an all-star. All right. Karl Anthony Towns has just been announced to the all-star team. Any issue with any of the names we've heard so far?
No, not at all. I mean, the only issue I'd have is the Kings are 5th in the West, and there's nobody been announced yet. And so some of those teams the Lakers already have 2 guys who, and certainly Curry deserves it, but where are the Dubs? They're 12th or wherever. So,
right.
I mean, just on the deserving.
Yeah, no, I understand. I got you. I do understand that. Every year you're always going to have a player or two that gets screwed and a player or two that gets voted on that doesn't deserve. I mean, that's just the way the system is.
Yeah, and I think with the level of talent in both conferences now, I think just about everybody deserves it. I mean, I think it's just a matter of you've got 20 guys who are very deserving to make the All-Stars, at least 20.
Yep.
And so you can say, well, does Towns deserve it over Sabonis? I don't think he does, but I can see why others might. He's very good. He's deserving. The team is playing terrific, and he might be their second most valuable player.
All right. So if Sabonis is not on the All-Star team, this really is a blow to him because he's made it 3 times in a row, or 3 times. I don't know if it's consecutively. And the game's in Indianapolis. So it'd be a big deal for him, I would think.
I agree. I think it is a big deal for him, and obviously, just the way things have gone, he certainly deserves it. And the trade from Indiana, to the Kings, has been a great move for him, just as Tyrese Halliburton has been a great move for the Pacers. So we just hope he gets on there because he definitely deserves it, and I'm pretty sure he'd like to play the game in Indiana.
I would think so. Again, I'm looking at Minnesota. I have no problem with Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. I have no problem with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being a starting guard. He deserves it. I have no problem with the Clippers, and they're there too with George and Leonard. But again, you make a great point. The Lakers are 24 and 25. Should they have two guys on the All-Star team?
Yeah, I mean, and we know why. I mean, they're both talented. Super talents, really, and all that. But the team hasn't produced. And I mean, at some point, it's like, well, you got a team that's fifth, and they have nobody so far. I mean, it just that part, I don't get.
All right, let's get to Ryan in Sacktown. Ryan, what's the latest, buddy?
Hey, guys, we're hanging on a thread. The panel on TNT is discussing the last spot. Fox and Sabonis seems to be the consensus by them, but we'll find out. To answer your guys' question, the cat thing, I don't know how you put a guy that is averaging statistics. If the season ended today, he would be the only one other than Oscar Robertson that has averaged the line Sabonis is averaging right now.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
There you go. Now there's only one. I haven't been there's only one spot left.
I believe one spot left. That is what they are predicting. We have 7 reserves named so far. There should be an 8th.
Okay.
Or do they go 9?
Okay. So I don't know. Jerry is a third. I don't even know. I think it's 9 reserves. I think. We'll find out.
We will find out.
All right. So as soon as you see the announcement, let us know, would you please?
I got it. You guys get back to the conversation. Just wanted to pop in really quick. Keep the good show up.
Just let us know. Raise your hand. All right. So Jerry, I was talking to Ryan about this yesterday. This road trip right now to me is like the last road trip in this sense. The Kings road trip was going great, albeit they only played Detroit and Charlotte, and everybody was excited. And, they had just played a very thorough 48-minute game against Charlotte. And then the road trip became a disaster, right? They got blown out of Philly, the Milwaukee collapse, and then the Phoenix collapse. This road trip right now has been a tremendous road trip. If you had told me the Kings would be 3-1 after the Miami game, everyone would have taken that, okay? But, because I have to go but, if you lose these next 3 games, this is going to be a bad road trip. But if you only win one of the next 2 games, to me, it's a good road trip because you come home 4-3. That's where we're at right now. I mean, it could go either way, but if you win only one of the next 3, to me, no matter who it is that you beat, it's a good road trip.
Oh, couldn't agree more. Absolutely. If you go on the road and you're 4-3, that anytime you're above 500 on the road, and the Kings are one of the few teams that are above the 500 on the road already. And so, but yeah, you'd like to think between the 3, and obviously the Chicago team would seem to be the best chance. I mean, obviously Indiana and Cleveland are just really good teams, and both playing at a really high level right now. But the point is, just get one of them, and you've had a terrific road trip.
All right. Again, 14 players are on the All-Star roster. So there's still a spot that needs to be given out. Again, I just will be very surprised still. All right. But it does look like, all right, that Sabonis and Fox will not be on the list from what I'm reading online, that they both missed. All right. That they both missed it. I'm sorry. I don't know how you keep Sabonis off the All-Star team. I really don't. Ryan, let's get back to you real quick. That's it, right? That's the roster.
I don't have an announcement from TNT directly on my end, so I cannot confirm it. But if it is, it's a blunt reality for the Kings. They played poorly on national TV, and unfortunately, there is an eye test to this for some people.
Well, okay, I want to get to the eye test for some people. It came down, I guess, to Sabonis, Fox, and Karl Anthony Towns for the last spot. That's what it came down to. Listen, Minnesota has been one of the top teams in the NBA all season. Am I okay with them having more than one player on the All-Star team? Yes, I is. Yes, I am. Yes, I is. Yes, I am. I don't think that national TV should have any bearing on whether a player is on the All-Star team or not. These games are all seen on a nightly basis by those that love the NBA because of League Pass. All right. We have people like Baki in Serbia that watch games all night long, and he's not alone. There are people all over the world that are watching these games on League Pass. Your NBA fans watch the games whether they're on national TV or not. The NBA media watches games. This doesn't sit well with me, guys. Jerry, I don't understand this. I really don't.
Well, no, I don't either. I mean, like I say, with the record being what it is, their placement in the conference, and not to have anybody when that's a little hard to understand. And I mean, you even with Oklahoma City, they only have one. Well, and he's certainly deserving, but the Kings should have one. I mean, Denver. I mean, they could make a better case for having two, although Murray probably just played it. But anyway, I mean, as far as the Kings overall concerned, I mean, in a lot of ways, I was hoping that Domas would make it and then get flu-like symptoms and not be able to play.
Get some rest.
I think he could really use it, but I know it'd been really important for him to get in the game, and that makes it even worse, I think.
All right. Reports are that the Sixers have revealed that an MRI on the left knee of Joel Embiid revealed an injury to the lateral meniscus, and that they are figuring out what a treatment plan will be. He's going to be out through the weekend until they decide. This is a big story because you remember against Denver, he was not on the injury report, and 15 minutes before the game, he got pulled, and the Sixers subsequently fined, and now an MRI, have revealed this injured meniscus. So this actually looks better for Philadelphia because they weren't covering up anything. But again, we're talking about a guy that has a history of problems, Ryan, when it comes to injuries.
Yeah, you do. It's something you got to be concerned about. And that's been the thing that the 76ers have hung their organization on, his health. And unfortunately, it's coming down to this. And Grant, it's a bigger problem in the NBA too. You're looking at stars that are looking at possibly missing that 75-game mark for postseason awards because of legitimate injuries, in this case, like Embiid.
All right, let's talk about stats. Domantas Sabonis averaging 19.9, Karl Anthony Towns 22.7. All right, rebounds per game, 13 per game for Sabonis, 8.7 for Towns. Assists per game, 8 for Sabonis, 3.1 for Cat. Okay. Field goal percentage, 61% for Sabonis, 52% for Karl Anthony Towns. 3-pointers, 45% Sabonis, 44 Karl Anthony Towns. Free throws, not good. 68% for Sabonis, 87% for Karl Anthony Towns. Okay, but you're going to leave a guy who's averaging 20 points a game and 13 rebounds off an all-star team. I mean, really, this is unbelievable to me. It really is. It's unbelievable to me. And if you want to just talk about and compare where the Kings were 12 months ago to now and why we keep talking about this, and if you disagree, feel free to disagree. I've been saying that I have felt that this Kings team was better last year than they are this year. Think about last year. Sabonis was announced as a reserve. De'Aaron Fox was then added to the team. That could still happen. But just think about the momentum. Think about the vibe. Think about the feel among Kings fans right now compared to 12 months ago. I think it's, I don't want to say significantly different, but I think it's different. That's the vibe I have, Jerry. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think that's true. I mean, I think the the expectations. I think the team is probably playing close to what I expected, but I think I was hoping for more, and I think the expectations probably a little bit above where they should have been once you see the roster. And getting back to Sabonis, the only thing I'd say with him is he's playing better this year than he did last year.
Yep, spot on, Jerry. And
yeah, I mean he's just simply better in every way. But anyway, but yeah, this team. The thing I'd say, I'm very concerned about the bench. I thought the bench, would be improved, but it hasn't been. It just hasn't. I mean, you probably, Terrence Davis added more probably than several of the guys, and not named Monk generally, did. And so, I mean, we all expected Vesnikov to be that guy. Now he's hurt, but he hasn't been that guy consistently for various reasons.
Would you like to see a trade made before next week's deadline to strengthen the bench? It seems to me that's where we're going, right? Let's strengthen the bench. That's where you're at.
Yeah, it really is. I think that's the most, easy. Not that anything's easy to do, but that's the best chance to get a role player a little bit better than you have that you could plug in, in a reserve role and just strengthen your bench. And I think this would make this team a lot more formidable.
Should Anthony Davis be ahead of Domantas Sabonis when it comes to an All-Star? The answer is no, right?
No, absolutely not.
He got on based on the market size, the fact that it says Lakers on his jersey, and that his past. He didn't get on based on this year, putting his numbers head to head with Sabonis, did he? Right?
Nope.
No,
I would agree.
No, he's it's an LA thing. Let's just call it what it is. And obviously he was he's been a terrific player. He's an all-star level player, but he isn't having a better year than Sabonis. He may be more talented, but he's not having a better year.
Yeah, Jerry, I think you're spot on with that. I mean, you could even talk about Paul George to a degree. But I want to go back to something we're talking about. Sabonis, if you had to look at an MVP right now and you take the names off of the top of the board just because of, let's say, they don't make the requirement to win the award, Sabonis is winning that award over Cat right now. Do you guys disagree?
No, he'd be well ahead of Davis too. He'd be ahead of Paul George. I mean, there's several guys that you would ahead of Curry for that matter.
I agree, and Curry's playing good basketball. I want to go back really. Yeah, excellent. He has no help around him. I want to go back to something you said though. I think we do have to acknowledge with this Sacramento team, it's not that they're not as good as last year. The NBA got better. 6 offensives already have eclipsed that top number Sacramento hit in offensive efficiency last year. So at the trade deadline this year, I don't think there's a single move the Kings can make that is going to make a difference for this roster this year. And with the new CBA going into effect, which not enough people are talking about, it's going to be a make or break trade if you overpay for somebody, and it could affect Keegan Murray signing him in the future. Stay put. Don't overpay.
Fabulous point.
Well, the only thing I'd say to that is that, if as far as getting a bench guy, it may not require any financial risk.
That's fair.
And I mean, you're a second round pick for maybe a veteran guy that's on the end of a contract. I mean, you're just trying to. Anything you can do, to my mind, to strengthen the team for the remainder of the season this year. But I agree. I don't think they can do really anything to strengthen the starting unit per se. But there's always peripheral kind of moves that could be available where some guys are just the teams will want to move on from them. You just don't know.
Well, I still just am blown away that the Sacramento Kings at 27-19. Okay, 27-19 do not have an all-star, especially by the name of Domantas Sabonis. I'm okay if Fox didn't make the team. I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with Sabonis being left off the roster. I think this is a big-time snub. I think it's really bad look for the NBA. And Sacramento got screwed. Plain and simple, they got screwed. And I'm well aware that there's only X number of spots on the all-star team, but Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Davis are not having better years. But I'm okay with Towns because he is having a good year, and Minnesota's been one of the very top teams all year. So if we're gonna argue those two, I'm okay. Anthony Davis, hell no, no way he should be on ahead of Sabonis. It's wrong, flat out wrong.
Basically, he's the second best player on the below 500 team.
Thank you. That's what he's at. Yeah,
that's where it's at.
Yep.
Jerry, wouldn't this be more alarming if this was the fan vote? Like there was some weight into that, and Grant too. This is the coaches.
Yeah, no, that is a real concern to me. And I think they get caught up in some of the same things, though. The name guys. Certainly, Davis would be a perfect example of that, really.
Well, so a lot of people, gee, will this fuel them, whatever. I have a feeling Sabonis is going to put on an absolute freaking show tomorrow in Indiana. That's what I think is going to happen. I don't know about Fox because, he has been a little bit up and down. But, wow, man, unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
Only one player in NBA history has ever finished the season with 19, 13, and 8, the late Wilt Chamberlain.
Wow. I think Wilt would have made the All-Star team. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he probably would have made the All-Star team. I would agree. Man, I have a feeling Sabonis is going to come out tomorrow and absolutely put on a show against his former mates in front of the former fans that he played for. I think he's going to put on a show tomorrow. I really do. Wow. Unbelievable.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Well, it clearly is a snub to the Sacramento Kings and Domas in particular. I mean, it's a snub. Now, every year there's guys that are deserving. Well, clearly he's deserving and more so than several guys that are on there. So that makes it a snub, especially when some teams had two and Kings had none.
I thought Fox got snubbed. I thought Fox got snubbed last year, and then he did get put on. I don't think he got snubbed this year, but I think when you go back 12 months ago, I think he got snubbed. This year, no, I'm okay with him not being on the All-Star team. I'm not okay with Sabonis not being on the All-Star team. You can join us if you want. There's the link. But we are talking about this, and we'll see if there's an injury, if somebody gets added on. I got to believe Sabonis is the first big to get added on if there's anyone that goes down.
Yeah, if there's any justice in the world, there'll be one of those guys maybe will tweak a back or something, and they'd add him. And who knows? What if they didn't? I might have to just quit watching the NBA for life. I mean, that'd be great.
Hey, Ben Adebayo, Paolo Banchero, Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Tyrese Maxey, Julius Randle are your reserves for the East. Randle's going to not be on the All-Star team. The Knicks announcing today he's going to be out 2 to 3 weeks with his injury. So he'll be replaced, but it won't be Sabonis because that's the Eastern Conference.
Well, it could be. Might be the trade deadline. It's trade deadline. Something could happen.
Yeah. I guess you could. No, you know what? But no, the reason why I'm saying that is I pause. It has happened in the past, so I can't say it's
impossible. Really? Okay. Okay.
It has.
We know of one case for sure.
Yeah, right. Exactly. All right. So there's your All-Star reserves. Again, Booker, Curry, AD, Anthony Edwards, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Karl Anthony Towns. No Sacramento Kings are on the roster. Still hard to believe Sabonis left off. We're talking about that. We're also talking about Bennett's with their West Side Grill in Rockland. 3 locations, Sacramento, Roseville, and Rockland. Go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com, make a reservation, and more. Weekend brunch. Don't forget about their weekend brunch, the weekend prime rib, 60 different types of wine available by the glass. Go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com.
So Grant, I have a question for both of you. This is a good question. Sabonis leads the league in double-doubles. He does. Does this bring – is this a changing in the guard in the way this game is played? I mean, is this a reflection on this Sacramento team and just the season as a whole? Is this the NBA rejecting?
It's a changing of the guard for the last couple of years, the way the game's played, Jerry. The game has been played and the game continues to, and the NBA came out and said they're not concerned, or they're not, I don't know if the word was concerned about the recent offensive explosion. Jerry said this for years, and I think Jerry's spot on. The league needs to make some rule changes to reel in the way the game is being played right now. And I think Jerry is the one guy of anyone that I've heard anywhere in the country, because I haven't heard anyone else mention this except for Jerry, get rid of the corner three. I think Jerry said that years ago, and I think it's more relevant today in 2024. If you got rid of the corner three, Jerry, I think that would make great improvement to the game.
Oh, I do too. I mean, and we'd still have plenty of threes. Instead of having 50 shot a game, we'd have 35. And that ought to satisfy people. And then without the corner three, which is about 2 foot shorter, you're really not, just making it more fair. Why should a shorter shot get 3-point recognition for it? That's I always said. Why not have some free throws be shorter? Have some 12-foot free throws. But I think, the other part is why I think it'd be good to do would be get back to more post play, more actual fast breaks where guys go to the basket instead of go to the corners. And, just a little old school basketball. But I just think the scoring would probably drop some, but that, who cares? I mean, I think most fans, if it's
be a better game, it would be a better quality.
A better
ratings
game.
would go up.
And I really believe a lot of fans, or at least serious fans, would agree with this if they thought about it. Now, I think the marketing people and those people that really have no real thought about how the game really ought to look, but. So we'll see. I think at some point it will happen. I don't think they can keep it from happening, because we're going to be into shooting 60 and 73s before they're done.
I honestly don't watch a lot of NBA basketball anymore. I can't. I find the game to be disappointing, the way the game is played on most nights. I find the game, I'll tell you right now, I'm not where I'm at with Major League Baseball, but I very rarely will watch any baseball now, because I hate the way the game is played. The ball's never in play. There's no moving the runner 90 feet. I have a big disdain for the way baseball is played. I don't believe, other than the game I was at in Miami last year, and I don't even know if I stayed for that whole game, but I was at the game to watch my umpire friend.
Your umpire buddy.
I didn't watch one baseball game in its entirety last year. And if you told me, did I watch more than 15 innings all year of baseball? The answer is no. Quite frankly, when I watch the NBA now, it's not enjoyable for me. I miss the post game. I miss players playing with their back to the basket. I miss creativity from a lot of teams. Not all teams. Some teams are beautiful to watch, but there's just too many bad. I guess, Jerry, in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say, there's too much unimaginable basketball going on right now, where I know what's going to happen before it happens. It's a 3-point shooting contest, almost like in baseball now. You either hit a home run or you strike out. I don't like the way the game's played. I really don't.
Well, I don't either. I mean, I enjoy the skill of the players. I think it's remarkable. And I'm like you. I'd like to see a little more creativity. Used to be, teams would say you saw Utah players, or you knew their style, but they were different. Now everybody does the same. They'll shoot threes in transition. If they can't get a three in transition, they'll go into high screen and roll or draw and kick. Every team is the same, and it doesn't really change much until you get late in the game. I mean, obviously, I know Denver, when they get in crunch time, they have some play calls and things. They get do that, but yeah, the sameness of it I think hurts the league, as opposed to, you pointed out, I mean, the creativity of the teams in the league. Well, they could play very different and be successful. The old Utah.
What would happen if Shaquille O'Neal was 21 years old coming into the NBA right now? Seriously, how would they coach Shaquille O'Neal if a force like that was coming in out of college? Would they try to make him a perimeter player? How would they use him? I mean, would he, in this era of basketball, Jerry, would they be able to play, or would not only would they be able to, would they play Shaquille O'Neal the way they played him in the early 2000s?
No, they wouldn't. And I mean, he'd still be terrific because but he wouldn't be what he was. You know what I mean? Instead of being one of the all-time greats, he'd been a power guy, terrific and all that. But like I say, I mean, Wilt Chamberlain couldn't hardly play in today's game.
How sad is that?
Yeah.
How
Bill
sad
Russell,
is that?
Bill could shoot very well.
So I want to bring some balance to it because I'm of the younger generation, right? And I made a living off the 3-ball when I got to play this game during my lifetime.
Yeah.
Loved it, right? But there's a reason Sabonis and Jokic and just those two, I'm not going to say any other guys, are refreshing in this NBA as we sit today.
Yeah, with their complete basketball players, and I think that's what's missing. I mean, in other words, I love the 3 as well. I like the dunk. I think some of it's overdone. I mean, but I mean, you're looking for really all around good basketball players that are comfortable inside, outside. Move, passing the ball, screening, the whole thing. They're like you say, Jokic and Sabonis are probably the best examples of that. But and you used to, and I say that's the difference. You've got more specialists now. A Tim Hardaway Jr. can be a highly paid, as he should be, because he's great shooting threes. Now, not a lot. He doesn't do a lot else. But I mean, in 1985, he would have had to be able to do more than just spot shoot.
Yes.
Well, it's a really good conversation, and I really appreciate everybody for joining us. We'll have all the coverage tomorrow, of the Kings and the Pacers, and we'll go over it on all the shows. It is what it is. Could it be that a player or two is added? Yeah, it normally happens with the player that gets an injury. I would have to believe, and again, I'm don't have all the players in a list in front of me. I got to believe that the next 2 guys on the list are Sabonis and Fox if there's an injury to a big or a guard. All right, let's get to Baki real quick, and then we'll wrap up the show. Baki, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. Nice logo, buddy.
Thank you.
What's your feeling about the All-Star reserves?
May I first say hello to Jerry Reynolds, and firstly, I would like to say hello. First time live, and just to say hello to a legend and tell you one big thank you, because thank you and Grant for get me into this Sacramento world and world of NBA basketball at all, and that's something I will never forget for my life. So thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Grant. Thank you, Reynolds.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's great to see a fan that just loves the league and loves basketball. I mean, I've wasted most of my life watching everything, and but it's neat. It's just neat to know that someone like yourself really loves the game, loves the Kings. Couldn't be happier, and glad to meet you.
All of Serbia, Jerry, Baki and all of his Serbian friends are watching the NBA around the clock in the wee hours of the morning. He's one of the biggest NBA fans that I've ever come across in all of my years. I mean, the guy literally watches multiple games all night long into the wee hours. Well, he watches the sunrise every morning watching NBA basketball.
Yeah, that's true. And can you imagine after what happened to you and you guys after having that much time with NBC and covering the Sacramento Kings? Once I thought maybe I will maybe go easier with the Sacramento and NBA after all those happenings, but no, I even stronger following the Kings and the NBA and everything. So once more, thank you guys.
Well, thank you, Jerry. Baki's the one whose daughter goes to school every day saying, "Holy moly, Jim Bob Bowley."
Oh, is that right? Well,
I hope
you didn't get in trouble
become
for that.
no trouble, but that becomes it became a national anthem here in the house.
Well, you can tell her I'm very proud of her for and she can use my anthem anytime she wants.
I mean, can you imagine one kid, whatever happened that is strange, she's going like, holy moly. This is unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Amazing. Hey,
I love it.
Baki, thank you very much for joining us. I know Jerry greatly appreciates you coming on and sharing your emotions with him and everyone else. We appreciate your support, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you tomorrow.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Great stuff right there.
Yeah.
All right, guys. No Sabonis, no Fox, and holy moly, Jim Bob Boley to that, right, Jerry? Jeez, unbelievable.
Yeah, that pretty much sums that up. But well, try to find the sun where the clouds are covering it, I guess. But I mean, maybe something good will come out of it. I don't know. Yeah. I know it's a snub, and I'm offended for Domas. I really am, and
I am too.
And I think the league can do and should do better, and so we'll see what happens.
Grant, you're going to kill me for this, but I got to ask this before we wrap. Is this a worse snub than Fox last year?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Jerry?
Yes. Yeah, I think so. I mean, especially because if nothing else, not just the numbers, but the positions. I mean, in the West, there's so many quality guards that, it's easier to make, a guy like James Harden, who's had a hell of a year, by the way.
Yeah.
I like him, but he's not on there.
No.
And he shouldn't be because there's just other guys. So, but I think this is probably the most I've been offended for the Kings in years, to be honest. I can't think of another time where a guy was more deserving that didn't make it from the Kings.
All right. Well, that's a wrap on the show today. Jerry, thank you very much. Ryan, thank you. And we'll all get together tomorrow. Kings and the Pacers. Thanks for all of the comments on the chat line. Don't forget to subscribe. Also, give us a thumbs up. We'd greatly appreciate it. Talk to you tomorrow. Thank you for joining us here on If You Don't Like That.